First of all, let me ask you to make your opening statements. You'll have 1 minute for your opening, starting with Patrick.
I'm Patrick Abell. I've lived at 4005 Princeton Drive for 21 years. I've seen a lot of change, and I'm happy with where the city is going. I think that we're going in a good direction. I think that it is our job as residents to make the Tri-Cities area the desirable area that we all want to live in and raise our kids. I want to be a voice for the people. I am a volunteer in the community. I get out. I'm involved in the schools. I'm a lifetime member of the PTA. I'm involved in all of our PTA meetings. My daughter's school probably hates me. I'm there so much, but I'm a band booster president. I'm actually there for the children, there for the community. And I'm here today to ask to be the voice of District 6.
I'm Robert Vera, and I'm the City Council in District 6. And I've been serving the community for 30 years in my neighborhood in the city of Garland. And I really have a passion and dedication to serve people in District 6 and the city of Garland. And every time we make a decision in the city council, I think of District 6 and the city of Garland. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, GAFHA, for having this tonight. My name is Jerry Nickerson. I'm the incumbent council member for District 3 in the South Garland area. And there's really one reason why I'm here, and that's the citizen. They put me here. They voted for me to provide input and leadership at the council, to work hard to attain the issues and solve the issues that we have in South Garland, to try to get more focus there. These are the things that the citizens have asked me to do. I think I've been very successful in doing what they've asked, and I'm looking to do more for the district and for the citizens, and that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Good evening, Tony. Thank you for having the event and the members of GAHFA and the community that's out tonight. My name is Stanley. I am a former council member for District 3 from 2013 to 2017. After the tornado of 2015, a number of folks had asked me if I would step up and continue my service, but at a higher level. Didn't work out too well. Was happy just going back and being just a citizen and contributing to the community as just a resident. But a number of folks came to us and said, we need you back on the council. We need representation back in District 3. We need a responsive councilman that will address issues when they come up. There was a lot of stuff started, even long before I ever got on council, the 4 years I was on council, and I would like to pick up where I left off 2 years ago and complete a lot of the projects that's been going on for a number of years. Appreciate the opportunity tonight. Thanks.
Okay, the panel will be asking questions. They'll be addressed to all 4 of you. We'll start off, first of all, with Stanley over here, and then we'll back up to Patrick over there.
Thank you for those introductions. I'll start with the first question this evening. What are the top 2 concerns residents in your district have raised to you as an incumbent or candidate, and how do you plan to resolve those concerns?
There's a number of concerns. The number one is basically Eastern Hills. When Eastern Hills filed for bankruptcy, I was actually at the federal courts when it sold to basically an investor that bought it to make a profit. Working with the community from day one, we were able to actually stop Henry S. Miller from coming in and trying to get ability to build 550 houses on there. Working with a citizen group called Friends of South Garland, we were successful there. The second thing, and this has been one of the biggest things, because I handled a number of calls over the last couple of years trying to point people in the right direction to get things addressed, is communication and responsiveness back to the district. And then the third, I'm gonna go ahead and add a third, it's continuing the economic development, not just of District 3, but the city of Garland as a whole.
Could you repeat that question one more time, please?
Absolutely. What are the top 2 concerns residents in your district have raised to you as an incumbent or candidate, and how do you plan to resolve those concerns?
Thank you. Really, they're the same things that have been there for some time. They want more economic redevelopment, and continue that growth that we have started there in the last 2 years. There are active now over 9 projects that are related to economic redevelopment in the South Garland area. Economic development is made up of really many things, but what we have to have first are rooftops. We need people that can improve and build our demographics so that the retailers can come in and provide services that we all want. My focus has been to try to develop both single-family and multifamily housing, as well as begin to develop land banking down there so that we can manage who might develop pieces of property so that we can get the right kind of real estate and commercial development for the right kinds of services that our citizens want. And the second one really is trying to solve that Eastern Hills, and I've solved that. There's a development now beginning there called My Possibilities, and I didn't solve that. The citizens did. A majority of the citizens in that district voted for and spoke for that developer to come in there. They saw something that was different. They saw something that could help. They saw something that could fill a void. And that was my job, to try to make that happen for those citizens.
Can you repeat that question again?
Sure. What are the top 2 concerns residents in your district have raised to you as an incumbent or candidate, and how do you plan to resolve those concerns?
The first one is economic development. When we lost Raytheon, the place was empty, and we were wanting to bring people in, and we finally got a developer to come and develop it. And they developed it real well, and we've got so many people coming in to our District 6 also on the Wiley Ranch. They wanted to build houses, so now they're building 600 new houses, and that's been a long time since we had any kind of development in our district. And also streets. The complaint I got was potholes. Everybody got potholes everywhere in Garland. So I started doing that, and the last 2 years that I've been city council, we have spent $487,000 on streets and alleys. Thank you.
The number one concern I have in District 6 that is brought to me is our image. People think that we're crime-ridden because 75243 Dallas has a zero-tolerance plan in place that is causing people to come to our area. I want to work with the chief, work with the police to increase our neighborhood policing, get our officers back out into the community so that we can work to improve our image as a city as a whole. That brings me to the next thing, which is the schools. Our schools are great, and we are losing 2,000 or so people a year. Part of the reason we're losing that is amenities. Parks and recreation needs to be a big deal because the nuclear family is now leaving to go to surrounding communities where they can take their kids to the park, where they can play, where they can get out and do things that they cannot do in Garland. And our current bond proposition works to solve some of that, but the people want to make sure that District 6 is taken care of and has a voice that we'll call them back and we'll answer them.
Okay, guys, the next question, the city of Garland, next to Dallas, has the highest population of senior citizens in Dallas County. Most, if not all, senior citizens in Garland live on a fixed income. The jump in property values over the last 5 years has increased property taxes to the point of creating a hardship for senior citizens. What can you as a council member and the city council do to mitigate the financial strain on senior citizens caused by the city property taxes? Please be specific in your response.
So one of the things about Garland that is unique is we have one of the highest senior tax exemption brackets out of the current cities. Wiley, I think, is 30,000 and we are at 50,000. So we do take care of that. I think that we do need to either look at increasing that as a city, working with them maybe to get out and find out exactly what we need to do. What does the city want? What do the people need? How can we, A, spend the money wisely so that we have our fiduciary responsibilities met, B, get out, have town forums, have people come to us, and actually get into the community to find out what we can do together as a group to take care of that. It's going to require more than just 4 people, 6 people, 8 people. We're going to have to get together and put our heads together to find out where we can cut so that we can ensure that that does go down.
Repeat that question.
Okay. The city of Garland, next to Dallas, has the highest population of senior citizens in Dallas County. Most, if not all, senior citizens in Garland live on a fixed income. The jump in property values over the last 5 years has increased property taxes to the point of creating a hardship for senior citizens. What can you as a council member and city council do to mitigate the financial strain on senior citizens caused by the city property taxes?
Well, some of those taxes we don't have control over because it comes from the county. And they're the ones that raise the property tax a lot. To solve that problem, I would try to lower that tax, but right now we're at pretty level on that tax. And doing things for senior citizens on this bond election that's coming up, I, in my district, I did a senior citizen room at Halaba, and for kitchen for senior citizens to meet, and we can discuss things. We don't have nothing on District 6 for senior citizens to come up there and discuss their frustration or things they want to talk. Thank you.
I think senior citizens, there are challenges there on how we work with the senior citizen community, but there are opportunities as well. The state actually has a program where senior citizens can actually defer their property taxes. And that is one area I think that many senior citizens don't understand, and we need to help them and educate them in the pros and cons of that. But that is one opportunity that could help relieve some of the tax burden on the senior citizen. But I think also it ties back to affordable housing. And where are we going in this community with affordable housing? I think there is some sense that affordable housing means we're not going to get good housing. That's not true. Affordable housing can be built to help senior citizens as they want to downsize and get out of some of those property value that have increased. They could sell that, take that profit, and downsize into some of these affordable housing communities. I'll give you an example. The My Possibilities development actually would be a perfect opportunity for some of that downsizing if folks wanted to get out of the larger homes that they had been living in most of the time. So we have to reach out and look and see to the senior citizens understand what their options are and what's already out there to help them. And then second, we need to look at those opportunities to to address the housing in more affordable opportunities. Thank you.
Well, fortunately, Garland actually has one of the most robust senior activities programs of any of the communities I've been to in Dallas County. Being a licensed realtor, I've been in the real estate business. I grew up in it since I was 5 years old and been licensed for over 35 years. So I deal with a lot of the communities in Dallas County and the surrounding counties as well. And one of the things that either in 2002, 2004, when the legislature was working on some tax reforms and some school finance reforms, they got called back for a special session. And instead of doing that, I called it a bait and switch. Instead of doing what they went back to do, they created the senior tax freeze. And that's been one of the biggest advantages for seniors, is actually permanently capping the value of their property. So when everybody else's values are going up, theirs is frozen in place at that time. The only other thing that can be done for the folks that have taken advantage of that is to actually increase our homestead our over 65 exemption, and that is something that I think that with our increasing values statewide, I think that is something that the legislature needs to address. Would be nice if they could address it in this session. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, the next question speaks to the cost of water. Water bills for Garland residents continue to escalate. In spite of thousands of complaints from citizens, it appears the city of Garland has not taken any action to mitigate the cost of water for its citizens. As a city council member, what are you prepared to do, along with the rest of the council, to alleviate this growing expense for Garland residents?
Well, I hadn't had the luxury of dealing with it for the last 2 years, but in my previous 4 years, part of the issue is it's by in large part is a pass through. North Texas Municipal Water District, they set the rate with the take or pay contracts that all of the original member cities are in, the 13 original member cities, and then you got customer cities. But whatever your high mark is that you've ever achieved, 11.5 million gallons a day was the last I heard. I don't know what it is today, but back when I was still on council, that's what it was. Whether you use that much or not, you have to pay it. So, at the same time, with Garland being a mature city like it is, we have a lot of aging infrastructure. You have to factor in your water rates, not just the cost of water that's passed through from North Texas Municipal Water District, but you have to basically create an escrow account for upgrades to your water and sewer lines down the road. One of the things the thing that got started before I got off the council in 2017 is that the cities, four big cities in the metroplex, the member cities, filed suit against North Texas Municipal Water Districts to break up this take or pay contract system to make it where we can actually have a water rate of what we're actually using, not what we used at one point in time.
Yeah, the water rate issue is a continuing battle. The issue with the water that we receive from North Texas, the North Texas system, really, it's exactly right. We have an amount that we have to take, whether we use it or not. But I want to be clear: you, the citizen, you pay for what you use at your house. The city has to pay that difference. But that difference then gets factored back into the gallon charge that you get. So that's how it actually works and functions. So you don't really pay for water you don't use, but the city has to pay for that water based on that contract. There's another thing that we can do. We can look at our city water distribution system and continue to stay efficient with it, to try to make sure that we don't lose water, and that we're not having leaks in the systems and at the meters, that the meters are accurate. Having an accurate water department metering system is important so that the citizens feel that they are being metered properly. And then work with our citizens when they have issues they feel like are not fair and they feel like they're not using that amount of water. Just recently, I've had several citizens call and ask about their water bill, and we've had our water department, who's very responsive, to go out, investigate, do leak testing, and try to work with that citizen to help them with the issue. And also, we will, when needed, defer some of those payments and try to help them through that process as best that the city can. So, but it's going to be continuing oversight on the system, continuing monitoring, and do the best that we can to improve the contract issue that we have now. And that is happening, actually. That is, I think we have come to a point with the water district that we're going to be able to, in the future, begin not having to do that taker, that pay when we are not using the water. So I think there's going to be some better things happening there in that standpoint.
I agree with Jerry, whatever he said a while ago. We've been having meetings on the water and sewage line, and one thing that they brought up to council was 15 years ago, or been 15 years back, the apartment complexes weren't paying their fair share. So we agreed to raise their the water bill to what the house payments or owners are paying per apartment. And we did the half of it, I believe in February, and the other half will be paid like in September. And starting next year, they're all gonna be the same, like homeowners. And I agree with everything we've been doing in the council for that. Thank you.
So again, I agree with everything they said. It's pretty easy. One thing that I've done in my community is whenever I see someone that is out on Facebook, wherever next door, complaining about the water rate, I will go out and I will actually open their meter with them, show them what the leak indicator is. And we have identified many times where they have a running toilet, something going on that they do need to fix. And our water department will do that. Sometimes getting a hold of them appears to be a little difficult, but I've stepped up, gone out, and done that. So I think through advocacy, we can help the image, because if you look at the member cities, Rowlett is higher. The water bills there are much higher than they are in Garland. We get far more complaints, but I think that the steps that the council is taking right now to even the utility connections across the board and fighting for the take or leave policy is something that we do need to continue. We need to not be paying for water we're not using.
Okay, the final question is, the city of Garland lost its only hospital last year. How has this affected residents in your district? And do you believe Garland will be able to replace the hospital? If yes, why? If no, why not? Be specific.
So, has losing our hospital affected my district? Yes. It has affected the entire city. Methodist has picked up and is taking good care of us. I think we can get a hospital or a clinic back. We're working with Parkland now to get a full service emergency clinic into the system. Since we already pay Parkland taxes, there should be one here instead of people having to drive all the way to the Parkland hospital. We're already a part of that service. They're going to put it here and we're going to advocate for it. The coming VA hospital that has been announced is a great thing. And many people will find out in the long run that that emergency room will be able, if I understand correctly, to stabilize a patient. Say someone has a heart attack, they're not a veteran, they can be taken there, stabilized, so that they can be transferred to another hospital. So they're not going to turn away non-veterans, they will be there for trauma care. So that is a great benefit to the city. Like I said, we need to advocate to get the Parkland system to do something here and get them involved, because we do need that.
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, the city of Garland lost its only hospital last year. How has this affected residents in your district, and do you believe Garland will be able to replace the hospital? If yes, why? If no, why not?
When they closed the hospital, it affected a lot of people in our District 6 because we have a lot of retired people over there. And I got a lot of complaints from people that said, where are we going to go? We can't go there. Well, people are going to Methodist Hospital in Richardson, which help a lot, or Presbyterian. But what we've been hearing about, we're having a VA hospital coming in next year. And we're so glad that they are coming. And I am so happy because we're building this river set on Buckingham and Shiloh on new houses where we can maybe people from the Veteran Hospital buy some homes there, which makes it pretty good. But nevertheless, like Patrick, sorry. What Patrick said is true. They're going to use the hospital for emergency only. There's not going to be staying there or anything, but in case that they can't make it to other hospitals, they will use that hospital for emergencies. But it's also so glad that the Veteran Hospital coming because we have a lot of veterans in Garland that will utilize that hospital.
This is a very good question, and I probably could talk for an hour on it. Just to let you know, my background is in hospital business and hospital design and facility management. I was vice president of facilities for Parkland's hospital health system across the Dallas County. Managed that large bond program of $1.32 billion, and we managed it under budget and on time. I have worked with the VA before. I had contacts with Parkland Hospital's executives, the CEO and president, due to my employment there. And so we got together a joint committee with the help of Commissioner Daniels and the county to focus on developing a solution for our dilemma here in Garland. We had one focus, that committee. How can we better serve the citizens to get the health care that they need here now that Baylor had shut down? The VA came to us just recently, and they are going to purchase that property from Baylor Scott and White. That's a good thing, but it opens up a lot of other opportunities as well. So we started talking about that. We started talking with the Parkland executives. I was a member of an ad hoc committee where we had several of council members there and staff. We met with the staffs and leaderships of Parkland and the county, and we've developed a program where we are actually investing with Parkland in providing new services here for our citizens. They're going to take over a floor of one of those medical office buildings at that campus and to develop a new clinic there to help serve our citizens. The VA, the biggest benefit for the VA facility is really going to be in those emergency services that they provide. That was the thing that I think we were most hurt by here in the city and our citizens was the loss of that emergency operations. Now we can, once that's redeveloped, we'll be able to have our emergency vehicles go there and get stabilization of that patient before they're transferred to nearby hospitals in and around Plano, Waco, and into Dallas. And that's what we were missing. We were having to take our emergency ambulances all the way to these hospitals and increasing that travel time. So we're going to be able to limit that. We're going to be able to provide emergency services here again, and we're going to have additional clinic services for our citizens.
As far as what the impact was for District 3, with a large portion of District 3 having a tremendous number of seniors in it, obviously a number of veterans, because a lot of the seniors in Garland are veterans from our greatest generation. I was, when finding out that the VA was actually going to be buying it and taking over the majority of the operations there, that was, to me, it was a good thing, because we've heard national news for the last 5 to 10 years about how deplorable services are for our veterans. Having a relatively new, updated hospital, because Baylor Scott and White just a few short years ago did some major renovations there, and it's going to be a tremendous upgrade compared to what they have the VA hospital over in South Dallas. I know. I wish this question would have come up while Councilmember Smith was up here, because I know he spent over 2 years, because of the hospital being in his district, working immensely, tirelessly over, with staff and other folks trying to make, help make this happen. Before I ever got off the council, we were already being told that something was going to be happening with the hospital, that they needed higher end houses. The development that Mr. Vera was talking about at the old Wyrick property, there was discussions and some trying to make some deals happen on that 3 or 4 years ago, and it's a great thing for District 6 that it's finally come to fruition, because now there's going to be some local residents that the hospital workers, the staff for a good major hospital, will likely be able to live local and versus what the Baylor Scott and White. But I was disappointed when they closed. Luckily there's still the Methodist Hospital that they're expanding again. The Baylor Scott and White location out in Rowlett, the one under construction, the $250 million under construction in Mesquite now. Glad that we actually going to have emergency facilities back in the city of Garland. Thank you.